What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another UFC Insider Betting. This week, we have UFC Paris, Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio. It's going to be a great card. A lot of fighters making their debut on this card. We haven't been live in a while, but this is usually a weekly show where we give you guys our best picks and predictions for whichever UFC card is coming up. And we're back. There was no UFC last week. Seems like UFC is going through a little bit of a buffer era right now, of the year at least, because we've been blessed with so many great, phenomenal cards. We have to remember this is just a fight night. A lot of people are saying, oh, this card's not this card's not that. We have two fighting nerds on this card. We have Pitbull. We have some good fighters. Actually, Pitbull's not fighting on this card, which we will get into. But that was actually supposed to be the first card fight of the night. Patricio Pitbull versus Lacine Quieta. And Lacine Quieta didn't make featherweight weight. He was 3 pounds over. So that fight is officially canceled. And Lacine Quieta's last fights, I believe, were at lightweight. I thought he was going to make his debut at the UFC in lightweight, but he decided to make it at featherweight. He was a featherweight and lightweight champion, and he didn't make featherweight. So I don't think he'll get another matchup at featherweight. I don't think the UFC will give him that now. They'll probably force him to fight lightweight. I'd like to see him go up against like a Michael Chandler or something like that. But the fight that's going to be kicking off the main card here is William Gomez versus a new UFC fighter making his debut, Robert Ruchala. And I'm sorry for everybody. I am very sick right now. That's why you can hear my voice. Please work with me. I have the sniffles right now. There's something going around, man. I swear every other person that I've been talking to has gotten sick recently or is sick. And right now, I am in that as well. But how do you feel? We're back, man. UFC is back. I'm excited to watch this card tomorrow. It's an earlier card. Paris, we had Shanghai was an early card about 2 weeks ago. We have another early card. Main card starts at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're going to have an early live stream watch party tomorrow. I'm excited for that. But what do you think about this card? Do you think it has some hype behind it, or is it just like another fight night?
I think it's got some hype behind it. I think there's some fun fights on this card. There's a big, obviously the main event. It's a potential title eliminator fight. Dana said winner of this fight and winner of Fluffy versus RDR both have a chance to go for the middleweight title. So two important fights, obviously, or one important fight on this card. Dana basically said whichever fight is more exciting is going to get the title chance. Little hint, or not a hint, but little prediction. This fight is not going to be as entertaining as the Fluffy RDR fight, I think. But we'll get into that in a second. Usually we go live every Thursday as well, like you mentioned. Unfortunately, we were a little under the weather yesterday, so we had to postpone it a day, which means that I don't have a beautiful graphic created for William Gomez versus Robert Ruchala. And I was going to pull up the UFC.com site for it, but their site seems to be bugging out, and Robert Kuchala's face appears like hella big when you pop up the fight. I don't know if you're seeing that too, but
it's okay.
We can start with breaking out that fight. William Gomez, he's fought in Paris before 2 fights ago against Anderson Brito. He got the win there by split decision. He had some hype behind him in the UFC before losing his last fight to Hyder Emil, which he only lost by split decision, but he did get taken down once. He didn't get any takedowns, and Hyder Emil outstruck him. So I guess that's a fair decision there. I don't know much about Robert Ruchala. Like, this fight was not supposed to be on the main card, so I didn't look too much into it.
Yeah, it's
going to be a bit of a trend on the fights that we're breaking down here, because I think that the debutants are going to have a struggle on this card. So yeah, but so I'm going to go with William Gomez here. I think he's still a really good fighter, but he just hasn't been impressive in the UFC so far. He's had 2 split decision wins, 1 split decision loss. He has a KO win, which I'll give to him, but yeah, he hasn't dominated by any means.
Yeah, Robert Ruchala, it's just like he's coming off of a KO win. He has a body kick KO win the fight before that. So he's coming off some good TKO wins. He got knocked out in his in a fight as well to his soccer body kick. I'm just looking at his Tapology right now. So it's like he's kind of hit or miss in the regional scene. He's not just on this crazy tear. He did take a loss by knockout as well. So William Gomez getting to the UFC, these guys are a different level. We have to put some respect on his name. Do you know the odds for this fight? Because if William Gomez is even a little bit of money on William Gomez might be a good play here.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm pulling up DraftKings right now. Let's go. Where are we at here? Fight lines. No, William Gomez is a heavy favorite, minus 265. Makes sense. Makes sense in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Does he have any what's his KO and what's his decision? Is there any value? Do you see any value when you're looking at this? Do you see anywhere you can make some money on?
Not really. Like I think it's gonna go to split, or not to split, but it's gonna go to decision, I think. Maybe split, honestly, with the way William Gomez fights. And that's a minus 105 if you take him by decision, plus 330 if you take him by knockout. He does have one knockout under his belt in the UFC. And he is considered more of a striker, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that chance. He's more of those strikers that are very technical, right? He's going to pick his shots. He's not going to press too hard. He only averages 3.5 strikes per minute there. So I don't know if a knockout's coming, but I think he's going to get the win for sure. No value on him, though. A lot of value on the next fight, though.
I agree. What I will say is, just for the Instagram people, we are breaking down William Gomez over Robert Richello. These guys are opening up the main card in UFC Paris. It was supposed to be Lucien Chieta versus Patricio Pitbull, but Lucien Chieta didn't make featherweight weight. He was 3 pounds over, so that fight was officially canceled. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Lucien Chieta fight at lightweight. My prediction is against somebody like a Michael Chandler, somebody who could get his name out there. But a former Bellator guy from a different promotion as well. So it sucks. I mean, Lucien Chieta had the height, had the weight, had everything on Patricio Pitbull. I probably would have bet him as well to win that fight. But yeah, so hopefully we get to see him fight again soon. Maybe selfishly he gets put on the UFC Vancouver card coming up. That would be pretty dope. But anyways, the next fight going on in the main card, I do think we have a graphic for.
We do. Axel Sola taking on Rhys McKee. Axel Sola, he's making his UFC debut, and he is a favorite going into his debut against Rhys McKee. Very surprising. He's coming in from Aries. I don't know.
Yeah, so he's the only actual, I think, hometown fighter on this card.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, like maybe like from Paris directly. There's a couple French guys still fighting.
Yeah, like he speaks French. Like this is his. Yeah.
Axel is nice. Is Chandler just being dragged along at this point as a fan favorite? Yeah, DC Grizzly. Yeah, he is.
Yes. And he's gonna get that Conor McGregor fight.
It's coming. White House 2026. But no. So Axel Sola, he's actually already fought twice in 2025, defending his belt both times in Paris. And then he's taking on Rhys McKee, who's I wouldn't say he's a super experienced fighter by any means. He's 1-4 in his UFC career. Mm-hmm. But my positive note on Rhys McKee here is that although he hasn't had too many fights, he's fought pretty experienced guys. Like his losses have come against Angelusa, Chidi Njokuani, Alex Morono, and Hamzat Chimaev. So he's fought some serious names. He's taken the beating all 4 of those times. But both of these guys, they're strikers. Rhys McKee, he's the taller, lengthier one. He'll pick his shots and then he'll kind of put the pressure on when he sees an opening. But Axel Sola, like I said, he's the favorite, even though he's making his short notice debut. He did not have a full training camp going into this fight, but when the opportunity comes to fight in the UFC, you take it. And the odds makers clearly see Axel Sola being the better overall fighter at minus 135. They think he's going to win. But I think the fact that this fight is coming in on short notice and he's fighting against someone who, although isn't very good in Rhys McKee, he does have experience against very high-level guys. I think that'll make it an interesting fight. And I have, although I don't like betting on shitty fighters, I don't love betting on guys making their debut. So I do have Rhys McKee taking the win here at plus 114. I think he's a solid underdog pick. But I think Axel Sola could be the real deal. He's impressed in Aris. I just you can't compare that to the UFC. You can barely compare the PFL and Bellator to the UFC, you know, like this guy hasn't really fought anyone. So of course he's going to look good at 10-0-1, but.
And a lot of his finishes are coming from a finish, which is makes him more hype coming into the UFC. Maybe he could get a big finish against Rhys McKee, right? But I don't think he's going to take this fight to the ground. I think Rhys McKee is better in that. And he's also has the height advantage. He has the reach advantage. He has the experience advantage. This is going to be a huge, huge moment for Axel Sola to step up here and put on a performance that he's had, like the ones that he's had this year, coming off of a decision, but it was a pretty good fight. And then he had an elbows from a crucifix in this fight before that, so he was on top of the guy, just messing him up. He's not going to get a crucifix on Rhys McKee. That is a deadlock. Bet it if you can. He's not going to get a crucifix win here. But
minus 10K, lock it in.
Yeah, Rhys McKee is, like you said, he's just kind of got the shit end of the stick in his UFC career. Like Khamzat Chimaev, Chidi, and Njoku. These are hard guys, man. Really big sized guys as well. So he's fighting somebody who's a little bit smaller than him, coming from a regional scene. Yes, he's champ. Yes, he's defending the belt. Yes, he's been champion since 2023. You can't deny somebody when they're a dominant champion. But do I see this guy being the next welterweight dominant champion? No, I do not. This fight isn't in the rankings. Maybe if he puts on a great performance against Rhys McKee, they give him a ranked opponent next. But I think Rhys McKee gets the win here, gets another guy outside of the rankings, and then gets another win and starts building some momentum at the end of the rankings, top 15 kind of guy. I think he deserves that spot. I think he's also not going to be a champion in his future, but I do see him being good enough to get into the rankings, where Axel Sola is just going to have to prove us he's really that guy. And I'm not big on taking people in their debut anymore. I just can't do it. I really have to see them at the UFC level. Rhys McKee is UFC level. But if he does get knocked out in the first round, he'll probably get cut, which is the craziest thing. We see a lot of fighters get cut.
Easily. Even if he loses this fight, period, he might get cut, you know? DC Grizzy in the chat on IG said, bro, he's been put against beasts. This would be his match to grab some retribution. I 100% agree. I think this is the UFC saying, you know what? We've given you some tough opponents. Axel Sola could be tough, but he's a guy making his debut from a regional scene. You should be able to get it done if you deserve to be in the UFC. So yeah, I agree with that.
Well, Axel Sola is going to be coming out with the flag. He's going to have the crowd behind him, but
100%. Yeah, everything is going to be against Rhys McKee's favor in a sense.
Yeah, this is like he has to win this shit. Like
yeah,
Axel Sola, he'll get another opportunity. Maybe if it's even Dana White Contender Series or something, I don't know. But
for Axel Sola would probably get another 2-3 fights before they even consider cutting him.
Yeah,
unless he like really shits the bet against Rhys McKee and gets knocked out or something like that.
Exactly. But that would be so big for Rhys McKee if he knocks out the new prodigy in his home crowd. Like that's a huge spot for him. So I'm excited for this fight. I think it will be entertaining. I could see it going the distance, or I could see Rhys McKee getting it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. Next up, we have Borralho UFC taking on Mason Jones. Mason Jones is finally back in the win column after making his comeback to the UFC in his fight against Jeremy Stephens, who I don't even remember this fight happening.
Oh my God, it was a rocky fight, man. I thought Mason Jones was going to get knocked out.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing. Yeah, so he's back. He got his first win, his second win in the UFC. He was previously in the UFC where he went 1-2, plus he had a no contest in there. Then he was sent back to Cage Warriors where he won 4 fights in a row, got back to the UFC, fought Jeremy Stephens, got the win. And then Borralho UFC is also coming off of a win, this time against Michael Aswell. He's 2-1 in the UFC currently. But these are two very similar fighters. I think Mason Jones is the more well-rounded fighter potentially, but they're both high-volume strikers with knockout power, and both have good takedown defense. The one thing that Mason Jones has going for him is that he will keep shooting the takedowns, and he's very comfortable with the offensive takedowns. He won't keep you there for long because you can see he averages 4 takedowns a fight, but he will consistently keep taking you down, play on the ground a little bit, and all that. He did have 8 takedowns against Jeremy Stephens. It wasn't his first time getting 8 takedowns in the UFC. He did that against David Onama as well. But simply because I think Mason Jones is a tiny bit more well-rounded. Even though Borralho UFC, I would give him the striking advantage there. But I think Mason Jones can hang on the feet. I think if he's there too long, Oki could catch him and get the knockout. But the knockout is really the only way I see Borralho UFC winning this one, I think. If it goes to decision, it could be 50-50. I just think with Mason Jones shooting the offensive takedowns, the judges tend to favor that. And if he has 4 takedowns versus, let's say, Borralho UFC has 1, and the control time's the same, I think they'll still favor Mason Jones with the 4 takedowns. So I'm going to go Mason Jones on a decision win here. I think that's the safe bet, but it is a 50-50 fight, and I think the odds show that being plus 114, minus 135. It's very close.
Yeah. Like you said, Mason Jones is pretty persistent with those takedowns, but I don't know how much of it is out of desperation to as it's actually like his game plan, because he was standing up, giving Jeremy Stephens a chance, and then Jeremy Stephens was starting to win on the feet, and then he went to his wrestling, which I thought was, I don't know. If he just stayed with the wrestling the whole fight, he wouldn't have taken as much damage. He would have dominated. He would have won all 3 rounds, but he didn't. So if he takes that game plan, learns from his last fight, and applies it in this fight to where he grapples heavy, wins rounds, doesn't put it in the judge's hands, he could get this one done. But Borralho UFC, his loss was against Chris Duncan in the UFC, and I think Chris Duncan's a little better than Mason Jones, if I'm being
I agree with you.
a little unbiased, biased, whatever you want to say. But I think my pick on this one is Borralho Oki. He's going to be able to defend those takedowns, make this fight stay on the feet. Mason Jones will continue to go to those takedowns. He's going to have the game plan for those takedowns. So I think he's going to be able to get the knockout. I think he's faster. I think he's stronger. That's my opinion on it. I think Borralho Oki is just a better all-around fighter. Mason Jones, he might have the IQ on him. He's going to have to show it. I don't necessarily believe it, because I thought Jeremy Stephens was about to knock him out. And Borralho Oki, he's not Jeremy Stephens. He is a bad man. So I'm taking Borralho Oki to win this one, and I could see him getting it done. I'd bet him by knockout. I bet you get some pretty good odds on that. So single leg here, Borralho Oki, knockout. Mason Jones, I'm sorry, but he didn't impress me in his last fight, and there's a reason that he got cut from the UFC in the first place. He needs to be that kind of Marab fighter with pressure and offensive grappling, and if he's not able to apply that game plan, he's going to lose this one in devastating fashion, man. Oki is going to knock him out, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair game. That's fair game. I don't blame you for that. I do think he got cut from the UFC for I do think he got cut from the UFC for a reason. I do think he's stepped up a little bit since coming back. And he although a little shaky against Jeremy Stephens, I think there are some glimmers of hope, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Before we go on to the feature fight, which is Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig, I think we got a little message from our friends at DraftKings. NFL's coming back, baby. Or it came back. It started yesterday.
NFL's back. That was an insane game, by the way.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec. Let's play our message here.
Hey, Inside Fighting, the NFL season is back, and we've partnered up with our friends over at DraftKings to get you close to all the action. Right now, if you're a new customer, go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using our promo code Inside Fighting, bet $5 and receive $300 in bonus bets, and $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Again, that's for all new customers who use our promo code Inside Fighting. Bet $5, you'll receive $300 instantly in bonus bets and $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV.
Wow. You're telling me you could bet $5 on DraftKings with the promo code Inside Fighting and you get $500 instantly. That is some crazy value, man. Shout out DraftKings.
Easy bet. Modestas Bukauskas is taking on Paul Craig in the feature fight. Bukauskas is riding a 3-fight win streak, most recently beating Ion Cutelaba. Oh shit! Sorry.
which was a gnarly win. Very controversial win. A lot of people had
Yeah.
him losing, myself included, and my parlay lost because of that, which was very sad. But he got it. He won. You can't
He
hate a
got
man
it
for
done.
winning.
He's got it done. He's on a 3-fight win streak now. Paul Craig, though, he's had a tough few fights. He only has 1 win in his last 5, which came up against Andre Muniz. Most recently, he had a no contest against Rodolfo Bellato. But to be fair to him, he's faced extremely high-level competition. He's had fights and losses against Bo Nickel, Caio Borralho, Brendan Allen, in his most recent fights. So he hasn't had an easy route to success here. But the problem with Paul Craig and the reason he's going to lose this fight is because he's one-dimensional. The only way he beats Bukauskas is on the ground. And if Bukauskas doesn't go to the ground and is able to avoid the takedowns, which he has 77% takedown defense, he should be able to avoid those takedowns. Bukauskas is just better all around. He should get the win here and extend his winning streak to 4.
Every time I see Paul Craig, I'm like, okay, gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he gets a submission, plus 500 odds. It looks good. I'm gonna swear here. Fuck no. I'm not doing it this time. I think Bukauskas is gonna knock him out pretty quick here, probably first, second round. It's gonna stay standing. Paul Craig isn't gonna get the takedown on Modestas Bukauskas. Shout out to him for coming on Inside Fighting, tapping in with Mike Owens in Paris. I like him. I also got to see him in Seattle, first fight on the card in Seattle to open up the prelims, and now he's the feature fight on a UFC Paris card. So he's getting the opportunities, he's making the most of the opportunities, and he's climbing and climbing, getting better competition. This one should be easy for him. I don't want to say it like that because it's like it's the fight game. You should always give the other guy this credit, especially like Paul Craig, who's been in the UFC for so long now, but I'm not doing it this fight. I'm betting Bukauskas by knockout. I feel good about it, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like it's an easy fight for Bukauskas. Co-main event, Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Mauricio Rufy. Last time Benoit Saint-Denis fought in Paris, I think, was it against Poirier? I think it was against Poirier. Or was it the
Benoit
Moicano
Saint-Denis
fight?
fought in Paris against Renato Moicano, no?
Was it Moicano?
Yeah, he got beat.
Because he got beat.
He got whooped in
Moicano,
Paris.
Yeah.
He got whooped his last time against Renato
Moicano. You're right. That was that fight. Yeah, he got whooped in Paris last time he was here, which sucks because Benoit Saint-Denis, BSD, he's a former French Special Forces. I think he's the youngest one to ever make that cut. But this is different. This is MMA, and he's very well-rounded. Don't get me wrong. He's got good takedowns. He's got good stand-up game. Like he really is really well-rounded. He just hasn't really been able to beat the big guys. He had a lot of hype behind him. People were like, oh, he might get a title shot. He's fighting Dustin Poirier. He's going to whoop Dustin Poirier. He's going to move his way up. Wow. Bang, loses to Dustin Poirier. Fights Moicano. They're like, oh, okay, maybe it's a more even fight. Both of these guys are on a hot streak besides his loss to Poirier. He's got a chance here. He's fighting in his hometown. He should get the win. Bang, gets another loss. And then he fights Kyle Propalik and gets the win. But what does that mean? Like, he's got wins against Kyle Propalik, Matt Frevola, Thiago Moises. Like, he hasn't really beaten anyone, and he's got a lot of hype for not really beating any big names. Then you got Mauricio Rufy coming off his third win in a row against King Green at UFC 313, where both you and I were there live. Insane knockout. Might be knockout of the year. Spinning wheel kick. Looked absolutely insane. And honestly, while breaking down this fight, I do my research. I take my notes, whatever. I'm shocked that Mauricio Rufy only has 3 fights in the UFC. I feel like he's had more just for the hype that he has around him. But that just shows you how big the fighting nerds are. Yeah. He's the first of 2 fighting nerds on this card that's going to be fighting. And speaking of the fighting nerds, they all seem to be hyping up Mauricio Rufy a ton. They think he's the best striker. He might be the best fighter out of all of them when they get their training on. And they speak really, really highly of him, even though he has the least experience in the UFC out of all of them. But he has insane striking. And we've seen him have really good takedown defense. He's 100% on takedown defense right now. So although Benoit Saint-Denis is really well-rounded, I think he's going to struggle with the takedowns. I think he's going to try to keep the pressure up to try and get the win, maybe try to get a couple takedowns. And I think that's ultimately what's going to get him knocked out at this fight. When you keep that pressure on, it opens you up to weird positions. And when you have a really technical striker like Mauricio Rufy, he's going to take advantage of those. BSD, I think he's going to slip up. Mauricio Rufy is just going to land that shot, and I think he's going to get another knockout here. We've seen Benoit Saint-Denis take a fucking beating against Renato Moicano. Like, who has Renato Moicano done that to? No one.
Yeah.
He's not the type of guy to give you a beating. So if he can do it, Mauricio Rufy is going to take full advantage of it and not just give him a beating, but probably knock him out completely. So I got Rufy. I think he's or Ruffy. I think he's going to get the win here.
Yeah, I want to give BSD his credit. Like, I want to, but it's hard. You know, he got beat up by Moicano. He got beat up by Dustin Poirier. It's crazy to think that if he won that Dustin Poirier fight, he probably would have been short notice to fight Islam Makhachev and get a title shot, because that's exactly what Moicano was, which is crazy to think about. He fell off pretty hard since then, but he did get that win recently against literally somebody who's not in the rankings, so it's not really that important. We don't need to even mention it. But Mercy, oh my goodness. Mauricio Rufy. This guy is the truth. His ability to set up strikes and find these knockout shots is insane. I haven't seen a fighter style like this since Conor McGregor. Like, the way he bounces around, the way he flow states, the way he just, it's incredible to watch. And it is crazy to only see him 15th ranked. Like you said, it feels like we've seen him. He's made these impacts every fight that he fights. People know who he is. I even went to a store the other day where I talked to the people in the store a bunch, and one of the ladies who works there, she said, "Oh, I know somebody who's fighting on that card, Mauricio Rufy." I was like, "That's who you know who's fighting on this card? That's the only person you know, Mauricio Rufy, who's 15th ranked in a lightweight division fighting BSD?" But hey, I mean, he's doing something right if he people already know him. And this has KO written all over it. Let's be real. So, like I mentioned, BSD's taken some damage in his recent fights. Mauricio Rufy's looking cleaner and cleaner. I think this could be like Ben Askren versus Jorge Masvidal. Benoit Saint-Denis just rushes for the takedown first second of the fight and just eats a knee or something. Just eats something completely so clean, knocks his chin off of his face, and Mauricio Rufy by decapitation.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And it's like, you want to give him his props because he was a former special ops guy. Like, he's a badass in real life. He used to be a badass in the cage, but now it's just this is
now
the
he's
truth.
gonna get knocked out.
Mauricio Rufy is the truth, man. He is the truth.
Main event of the evening, we got Nassourdine Imavov taking on Caio Borralho. Like I said when we started this live, this is potentially a title eliminator fight. Dana White came out and said that basically the winner of this fight or the winner of RDR and Fluffy will get a title shot, depending on which one ends up being more exciting, which I think is a fair, really, really fair way of doing things.
Yeah.
Because it's not usually like that. You know, you could have a situation like this, but one guy is a little bit more deserving than the other. And they go that way. But Caio Borralho, he's 7-0 in the UFC. He had to take a loss. He's been making some headways in the middleweight division. And the issue is that although he's on a 7-fight win streak, when you strictly look at the resumes, I still think that Imavov has the more impressive wins. He's got wins against fighters like Israel Adesanya and Brendan Allen, which are two very high-level guys. And then you got Caio Borralho, who's got wins against Jared Cannonier, Paul Craig, Magomedov, Michael Oleksiejczuk. He's got some good guys, but I think Nassourdine Imavov's guys are maybe just a little bit of a higher level there, just slightly. But I do think Caio Borralho here is going to get the win. I've never been hot on Imavov. I thought his win against Jared Cannonier was a little iffy, you know.
He was finding it though.
He was finding it, and he deserved that win. I just think it was ended just a second too short. Should have let Jared
especially
Cannonier
after what Jared Cannonier's been able to do in his last few fights. I think they should have let that one go, man.
And then you never know what happens, you know.
Jason Herzog's been on something recently, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man.
So Anyway, everything is telling me to pick Imavov. But I think Borralho is going to get it done. There's just something about these fighting nerds, the way they analyze fights, the way they come into fights. They just seem to be so much better than their opponents. Except for the Carlos Prates loss. But other than that, I think they're all undefeated basically. Yeah. So I got Caio. I think he's going to get it done here. I'm not hot on Imavov, even though he's got some good wins on his resume.
Yeah, with the Gary Prates fight, that was pretty interesting to me as well. I hammered the fighting nerd. I thought he was going to win. This is 5 rounds. With the Ian Gary Carlos Prates fight, though, it was just pure disappointment. You got the Carlos coming down in the rankings a little bit, fighting the actual #1 contender guy in Ian Gary, and that rankings kind of just proved to be a little too much for him at the time. These guys both have been inactive for the past over a year, both of them, waiting around trying to get this #1 contender fight. And in the meantime, we've seen RDR beat Robert Whittaker. We've seen Anthony Hernandez get a dominant win over Roman Dolidze. So we have other contenders now because these guys took too long to get this fight booked. A lot of trash talk going into this one. I like the hype. I like that it's in Paris. I like that we have the crowd behind Imavov. This fight could have been just as good on the Brazil card coming up in Rio. That could have been cool to see Kyle co-main under Charles Oliveira, something like that. But like you said, the fighting nerds are on their top right now. We have Gene Silva fighting next week against Diego Lopez at UFC Noche. So all the fighting nerds are dialed in. They're probably in the same camps together, all helping each other get to that championship level. And I do think that they're all almost there. You know, even Ruffy, who's 15th ranked, he's almost there, which is crazy. So I'm not looking at the rankings is the point I'm trying to make in the fight. I don't care that he's #2. I don't care that he's 7. I know where Caio Borralho is in his game and how he trains. I believe in him. But here's how I look at it. I think Nassourdine Imavov could take down Caio Borralho, and I don't think Caio Borralho could take down Nassourdine Imavov. So I think if Imavov has a good enough game plan here to mix in some grappling, to mix in some clinch time, to maybe get a takedown or two, he could sway the judges in his direction. I could see this one going to a 25-minute decision, which scares me. Caio Borralho, you want to root for the knockout. You want to think he could get it done, but who's he really knocked out? Does he have any crazy big knockouts? Not really, right? So
no,
I'm going to lean Nassourdine Imavov by decision here, and I hate it. But he really made me think twice about this fight after what he did to Israel Adesanya. He has that kind of fight IQ as well. He knows how to cut distance. He knows how to find spots. He knows when to take a chance. He knows when to shoot a takedown. I trust him. Dana White said he's hard as metal. He touched him in the weigh-ins, and he said he was hard as metal, which is kind of crazy to gas one fighter from a main event more than the other like that. But from the boss. Also, we didn't mention that Caio Borralho cut weight for Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev literally 2-3 weeks ago. So that could have some play into some sort of effect here as well. Nassourdine Imavov was trolling him on X when he was cutting weight, eating burgers and stuff. I think Nassourdine Imavov is just, he's confident. He's found this weird confidence in himself, even though he hasn't fought in over a year. And I don't know why he's looking over Caio Borralho, but I do think he is, which could get him knocked out. But I do think he's that good. That's why I'm going to lean him probably to win by a decision here, which sucks because I want to see Caio Borralho be the next guy, be the champion. If I'm rooting from my heart, I would root for Caio Borralho because I want to see him at the top fighting for a title. But I just think there's no denying Nassourdine Imavov. He's just making a name for himself by being that guy, by winning fights. And I think he just wins this fight. It might not be the most hype fight like you mentioned earlier in the show, but I do think he's just going to control this one, which sucks. I really do. I hate that I'm saying that. I really do. I wish I could just say Caio Borralho smokes him, but I don't think so, man.
I don't think he smokes him. And I think they're just both very similar fighters. And that's why I think this fight's going to be more boring than the RDR Fluffy fight. Because I think in the RDR Fluffy fight, we'll see a little bit mixed up a little bit more because they're pretty even on the ground. The only reason I'm picking Kai over Imavov is the exact same reason you're picking Imavov over Kai. I don't think Imavov's got the ground advantage over Caio. I think
Mm.
Caio, if you look at the stats, I mean, he averages more takedowns. He has a higher takedown accuracy. Their takedown defense is pretty similar. I don't know if these guys are going to be shooting a ton. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what we see on both of their resumes. Like last 3 fights, Kai Borralho, no takedowns. His last takedown was against Michal Oleszczuk, where he had 3 takedowns in that fight. You know, Nassourdine Imavov, no takedowns against Izzy. Got taken down once against Brendan Allen. He didn't have any takedowns of his own. He got taken down by Jared Cannonier as well. He got 2 takedowns that fight as well. But last time he got a takedown was Jared Cannonier. Before that, you're looking at Chris Curtis. So I don't know. I think the ground's a lot more even than I think you're looking at it. So I don't know. But I think we both agree that whoever can control the takedowns is probably going to get the win here, because it's probably going to go to decision. I don't think either of these guys are going to get the knockouts.
Oh yeah. If
likely.
Kyle's winning on the feet and then Nassourdine Imavov starts shooting takedowns and he defends them, oh my God, Kyle's next up. Kyle's championship ready. He is that guy. It's just, it's been over a year. I need a performance from Kyle to make me remember, and all I can remember is my glorious king Israel Adesanya getting knocked out by Nassourdine Imavov. So I can't bet against him. I just can't, bro.
No, I agree with you. Again, resume, my head says Imavov just because he has the better resume. But these fighting nerds, man, I don't know. And even Carlos Prates versus Ian Gary, like Ian Gary had the clear advantage on the ground in that fight. And Carlos Prates still got 2 rounds that he won.
True.
Stepped on the gas at the end. He took the first 3 rounds a little too light, didn't do enough to win any of those rounds, and that's what lost him the fight ultimately. True. So even in a fight like that, where like Carlos Prates was supposed to lose that fight, in my opinion, he was still closer than we thought it was going to be. So I don't know. Something says Caio here's going to win, but
he's in the right mindset, man. He is in the right mindset. Mike just interviewed him yesterday, and he says he wants to come out of this with a dominant performance and leave no doubt. He wants to be undeniable, next in line for the title. So if he puts on that performance that he thinks he could put on against Nassourdine Imavov, oh man, I hope he knocks him out. I really do.
Yeah.
But for plus money on Nassourdine Imavov, second ranked, the true #1 contender in the middleweight division right now, I just think it's his time. I think him versus Khamzat Chimaev is probably going to be the next fight that we see.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Anyways, next week we got UFC Noche, where Diego Lopes is taking on another fighting nerd, Jean Silva, a guy we like very, very much. That'll be a very exciting fight. Should be a decent card overall. You got Rob Font taking on David Martinez as the co-main, which is a little weird. You got Kelvin Gastelum taking on Dustin Stoltzfus in that card. Low-key might be a weaker card than this one besides the main event, but should still be exciting with Jean Silva taking on Diego Lopes in the main event. But anyway, every Thursday, I know not today because we were a little sick yesterday, but every Thursday we go live 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we'll be live next week. Our head reporter, Mike Owens, he's going to be live at UFC Paris, breaking down the fights, covering them. We're going to be getting some exclusive content of hopefully some knockouts, hopefully some submissions, some angles that you can't see anywhere else besides on our page. Cody's going to go live Saturday as well, breaking down the fights live, little watch party. Hopefully it feels a little bit better for it, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, I appreciate you all watching. Any last messages, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, this is kind of a buffer few weeks for the UFC. We had no UFC last week, UFC Shanghai. Now we have Paris, and Noche is not the best card, but we had some crazy fights get announced. We have Verna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern for the bantamweight female title. And then we have Weili Zhang stepping up to fight Valentina Shevchenko at MSG. And then the headline to that card, Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, which is crazy because there wasn't really any like posters or promotion to promote this fight announcement. It has kind of went under the radar, but because Dana White just announces his fights, reading the paper off Instagram Live now. But that's going to be exciting. That's in November. And then we also have UFC Vancouver coming up shortly after this fight, which is the other #1 contender middleweight fight, RDR versus Fluffy. So some fights to look forward to in the future. I'm excited for Paris. I'm excited for Noche. I'm excited for any UFC card. But tomorrow, yes, I'll be live. It's going to be earlier. I'll hit the live button around 1 to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So get ready for that. That's 1 p.m. Pacific or 12 p.m. Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern. So get ready. I'll be live for about 4 or 5 hours tomorrow. So just come to Inside Fighting and you'll see that I'm live tomorrow during the afternoon. So come check out. Hopefully we win some bets.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.